Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion discusses many laws to resolve the issue of poverty, how to lift up the most needy and destitute members of the community. For example, the Torah talks about the laws of Shemitah, where loans are forgiven. The Torah talks in this week's Torah portion about redeeming your brother from servitude. And then the Torah talks about not loaning money to the poor person on interest. And when the Torah describes these laws, the Torah says, when your brother who is with you becomes impoverished. And our rabbis explain, what is the extra word, with you? Say the rabbis, see yourself as though you were impoverished, which means have empathy. Maybe your circumstances are good, thank God. But imagine if you were poor. Would you want someone to help you? Would you want someone to be there for you? Have a mistakel ba'atzmacha ki'ilu ata'ani. And this is true in every area of life. Someone is ill. They're lonely. Imagine if you were lonely. Imagine if you were ill. Would you want someone to care for you or be there for you? And when you realize you could be that person, then you'll have more compassion and care for them. But perhaps the Torah is telling us another message. I once heard from a certain rabbi who said, the world is not divided between people who are ill and people who are healthy. The world is divided between people who are ill and people who are not yet ill. Now, it may be a little bit of a pessimistic view, but the point is, everyone at some point in life needs help. And you never know when your life circumstances are going to change. And therefore, if you're fortunate that your circumstances are good, at least show care for those who unfortunately don't find themselves in good, similar circumstances. You know, think about 2022. The year began like any other year. Who would have imagined that millions of refugees would be fleeing from Ukraine, that Ukraine would be turned into rubble? Who would imagine that the Russian economy would be collapsing because of the sanctions? Two countries which we're watching disintegrate right before our eyes. And all of these circumstances change within just a few months. And therefore be grateful for every day that your circumstances are good, because you never know. Last week in West Palm Beach, a plane was flying, a small plane with 3 passengers, and suddenly the pilot became incapacitated. And one of the passengers ran behind the controls and called the control tower and said, I'm flying this little Cessna plane and the pilot's incapacitated. What should I do? And the control tower was able to, the person in the control tower was able to guide him step by step how to land the plane safely. And miraculously, they all landed safely. And what this teaches us is that sometimes you're put in a position suddenly that you never expected, unforeseen, that you are not prepared for, you are not trained for. But you never know when circumstances in life are going to change. And you always have to be ready to step into the role, whatever is required, whatever is necessary. When you see someone around you whose circumstances change for the worse, be there, help them, and realize that you are called upon to help them. And don't say, it's not my role, it's someone else's job. If you see something, that means it's your role, it's your responsibility. And be prepared to go out of your comfort zone, step up, and do whatever is needed to help another. Have a wonderful day.